here's the truth. Um, I wanted kids.
Mm-hmm.
I found it in my heart to adopt kids. I adopted 3 homeless kids. And I would go to events and see all of the kids, and there was thousands of kids. And I thought to myself, oh my God, they all need education. They all need a psychologist. How am I going to do this? I was meant to be. I was meant to serve on this planet. And I think we're all given gifts to use for the better good. And I think, I was given the gift to learn business, do business so that I can teach others. And my passion is to help women with that in the future. And that's what my goal is. And it's such a burning desire that I won't stop until I help. I wanted Skittles and I wanted to go to the park. I said, well, did you get what you wanted? And he said, no. And I said, well, let me teach you the art of negotiation. And it's a difference between a real ham and a real turkey on the table versus lunch meat. And my kids, this was back a couple years ago when Toys R Us was still around, and my kids know the difference. Toys R Us toys. Mm-hmm. So the $300 may not be a lot of money to everybody else, but to me, it's a matter of humility.
Did you know there's a technology that's actually an app on your phone that uses sound waves to tell your brain what you want your brain to do? We had a young man that was on a guest on our podcast, the Mike Litton Experience, who had a traumatic brain injury. He was sleeping 3 hours a night. He's using NewCalm now and he's sleeping more. Go to newcalm.com, Mike15 promo code. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience podcast. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. Mike is passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
Maria Miuccio, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I'm super excited for our time together. And like we talked about before we hit record, everybody has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. So with your permission, we're going to start with where you were born, go up to today. And we want to talk about these amazing things you're doing with your check cashing place, with your insurance business. I mean, you're quite the entrepreneur, and I love how you're helping people with what it is that you're doing for a living. So thanks again for being here.
It's my pleasure, Mike. You're fun to talk to. So for me, this is fun.
Full disclosure, we've been together almost an hour.
And if we can empower people while having fun.
Yeah, well, we solved all the world's problems, so now people can relax, right?
Hey, I love being a businesswoman, but I have to tell you that I think we're on this planet to serve.
Yeah.
And so I if we don't, I think, my biggest fear is dying. They say you die twice. You die when you die, and then you die when somebody says your name the last time they say your name. And so for me, I don't ever want to get to that second dying, because I want my name to go on for a very, very long time. I want to make such a difference that people will talk about me for, thousands and thousands of years. But that in order to do that, you have to help a lot of people. Yeah. And so that is my purpose in life. For me, it's mostly women because of who I am and my background. But, I find myself helping more men because it's just in their DNA to be entrepreneurs, and women just want to look pretty and be taken care of. As you can see, that's not my agenda, which is, I'm doing this podcast with no makeup and just getting out of my workout room.
So it has nothing to do with the fact that men are helpless, right? It's just, right?
They say behind every man is a strong woman.
No kidding.
And so
thank God for that.
Yes, I do find myself helping a lot of men because I I just love helping people, especially in the business arena. So, but I do find myself helping a lot of men, more men than women. But I really want to help women because I believe if you help women, they help their children, which helps generations.
Yeah, I agree
And
with that.
so that is my purpose in life. But I feel I'm blessed so that I can be a blessing to.
Yeah, that much that much is
Are
obvious
you
and
there?
become more obvious, right? So where
But
were
you
you
know,
born?
I have fun with everything I do.
You're kidding. So where were you born?
I was born in Chicago, Chi-Town.
Chi-town.
Yeah,
Did you grow up there?
I did. I was there until I was nine, nine almost 20, 19. And then I moved to Vegas.
So
I
what was
so I'm
your
not the typical
go ahead.
what's what?
What was your favorite thing about
What was
growing
my
up in
favorite?
Chicago?
I don't have a favorite thing about growing up in Chicago. I
Really?
asked my mother what her IQ was I don't know if you've been there, but it is freaking cold.
Yeah, it is.
They call it the Windy City. It's a whole different meaning for why they call it Windy City because they say people in Chicago have a lot of hot air that comes out the egos, but it is super super cold. The
Yeah.
wind chill factor is sometimes 30 below, and
Wow.
so that saying, these kids don't have any idea, but back in the day when you had to walk 5 miles in the snow
Mhm.
and you got frostbite on your toes, that kind of sticks with you.
Mhm.
We didn't get Ubered to school, and so yeah, I my goal from 5 was to get the hell out of there and go somewhere with not all the time, and so I did it. My family
Somewhere
was
where it's
supposed to
not
come out to
freezing, right?
Vegas with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Somewhere it's not freezing.
because there's too many pretty girls here, they chose not to. But my brother finally moved out 7 years ago, so
There you go.
I'm not alone by myself anymore, and I love
That's
it.
cool. That's cool. So in high school, did you have a favorite subject?
I was a lot of teachers' pets.
Mhm.
As I had quite the personality. I was really cute back then. And so the funny part, my brothers still joke with me because I was almost valedictorian, and didn't have to work very hard for it. Um, my brothers would joke with me that all I had to do is walk into the classroom and I'd get a straight A. But I took cosmetology, and so I think it's in my DNA that I was just a natural at cutting hair, coloring, and so I got my license back in high school.
Mhm.
Um, so that was what my focus was because I thought that that's what I wanted to do until I did so many heads that I'm like, oh my God, this is definitely not what I want to do anymore.
Yeah.
Staying on my feet and getting in greasy heads, and I was like, okay, forget this. Let me do
Yeah.
something.
So growing up, who was the most influential person to you?
So my mother raised me and my two siblings alone.
Hmm.
Her and my father divorced when I was 1, and so she's the only one that was an influence. She, made it. She left my father with $100 and 3 kids, and I was 1, and she made it and ended up, buying a house in cash when I got older. And so she was definitely a huge influence for me in my life.
So at some point, you make the decision to move to Vegas. What's that about? Besides
So
besides the weather thing.
the truth is, my upbringing in the neighborhoods I lived in, everything was about keeping up with the Joneses, right? And so the girls, their only goal in life was marry a rich man.
Mhm.
Am I allowed to swear?
We're actually a G-rated show, but if you swear,
Right.
we'll bleep it out.
So I said half this, I want to be the rich man.
Right.
I don't want to. I'm a sucker for love, so
Yeah.
it was. I want to marry because I love somebody. I love their dirty underwear. I don't want to marry them because I want their money.
Yeah.
And so I didn't fit in. And although I was extremely popular, but my goals were very different than all the other girls. They just wanted to get married, have kids, and stay in their sweatpants with their hair up for the rest of their lives. And I thought, if I have to do that, I'm slitting my wrists.
Hmm.
And so I came to Vegas with my brother. And the funny part was I wasn't old enough, and he had me at the blackjack table, and he made me lose all my money. And I didn't care. The weird part was I didn't care. So back then they didn't check driver's licenses.
Hmm.
And so I tried talking him into getting me to stay and him go back home because his name was Carmen. And so I thought, let's switch our tickets. I'll say I'm Carmen because it could be a female, male. And he's like, sis, you're broke. What is your problem? Like, you have no money. Why do you want to stay? And there was just something about the glitz and the lights. And then I snuck into the neighborhoods, and I was like, women here are a little different than they are back in Chicago. Some of them want to be entrepreneurs and have their own lives, and it's not really like that where I am in the suburbs of Chicago.
Hmm.
And so I just fell in love with it, and that was my goal. My goal was to get here and find a way to move here, and I did it 3 years later.
Wow.
And so I came here, bought a house immediately before I even moved, and opened a business, and um, and just been loving it every minute of every day since. And and people ask me, how do you do it? And I think it's just a burning desire, right?
Hmm.
If you don't like something in your life, it's up to you to change it. And even if that means doing it across the country,
Hmm.
it's up to you. And so my sister-in-law's, I had a BMW back in Chicago, and I had a BMW when I was 16. Okay. So I was in the jewelry business back then, and I put them in the Fortune 500, and I got rid of my BMW because I needed money for this house, a down
Hmm.
payment.
Hmm.
So I I had a BMW in a beautiful condo, got rid of the BMW, and literally got a Pinto that was 4 different colors. Orange was one of the doors. And I got rid of the condo and moved into the ghetto with my boyfriend because his father owned the building. And my sister-in-laws were like, oh my God, you are just crazy. Like, where is this crazy come from? Aren't you afraid? And I said, you have to make sacrifices in life to get ahead. And they just couldn't understand. They couldn't understand. They're like, you're a cute girl. You can get anybody you want. Like, I don't get why you're making sacrifices to this extreme. You're driving around, a Pinto with 4 different colors, and living in a very, very dangerous community. And I just didn't care. I just I knew that you had to make sacrifices to get ahead in life. And I knew that I didn't want to live in Chicago my whole life. And I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I knew I wanted to marry for love and not money. And so I needed to go somewhere that I felt I could do this. And so I did. And, till this day, I think they still think I'm crazy for making all those sacrifices. But I'm so happy that I did. So I came out here and I opened a construction company, believe it or not. And back in the day, was it, I think it was 1991, construction was so hot out here. It still
Hmm.
is, but it was really hot. So there was no way. I mean, you made money. I was a female business owner,
Yeah.
so I got state jobs
Hmm.
for being a minority, and I made tons of money and loved every minute of being in Vegas and being a female entrepreneur. And so that's where I started.
So you start in construction. How long were
Yes,
you in construction?
I used to be out on the job sites with a ball cap, with a bag of ice underneath this ball cap, because in these summer months it's sometimes 120. So
Yeah.
I felt like my brain was like an egg on the asphalt frying.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I can imagine.
I did it and I loved it, and it's things that make me who I am today.
Hmm.
So what was the question?
So how long did you own the construction company?
So I owned it for about 7 years,
Yeah.
and I had to get out of it because I knew this was not something I could do when I was old.
Yeah.
Being out in the elements and slinging picks and so forth. Because I used to do all that. I mean, everybody thinks of me as a girly girl, but I was doing, driving bobcats and doing crazy stuff like that.
Wow.
But the other reason that I got out of it is because there was people that I counted on that got into drugs, and it's just something that I just didn't want to be a part of. And so I had to get away from that. And so I chose to get away from that and then move into the insurance industry.
What made you make that choice to get into insurance?
So climate controlled, right?
Okay.
I was tired of the 120-degree weather.
Mhm.
9 to 5 hours, residual income. I mean, there's so many great benefits to, working in an office and residual income. So I didn't get out of that construction because there wasn't money in there, because there was so much money in it. I joke that I had, gun safes filled with $100 bills at the time because there was so much money in it,
Mhm.
multiple, right? And so it wasn't because of the money; it was just because it was hot. It's 120 degrees when you're out there for 6, 7 hours. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, you got a great tan, but it's not something you can do when you're 65, 70 years old.
Yeah.
And so
True.
I thought, "Oh, I can't do this one. Oh, let me just get out of this now and figure out what I'm going to do." And so I thought, okay, let me do something really smart. Let me check the boxes. I want to be in an office where I can control the climate. I want to sit on my ass, because this standing, slinging picks and manual labor is very difficult, which is not something I'm going to be able to do.
Mhm.
I want children, so it'll have to be something where I'll be able to bring the kids, and I want something that will keep paying me over and over and over, so I can not be a slave to my business. And so insurance was the thing.
Wild.
So I became number one agent in the country. First it was the state, and then it was the country, and it was I got a lot of pushback, because the truth is it was a man's world. Still is.
Mhm.
And so I got a lot of pushback. There was some Mormon bishops in this town that I was beating their little behind, and they just weren't having it. And so they they made my life hell, but it's
Hmm.
okay. I still managed to do it and get around all the drama and still be number one every year, and I loved it. But I did choose to step down when I became a stepmother,
Okay.
because I was given these kids kind of spur of the moment type thing, and I thought, okay, well, what's more money? What's more important, money or you know taking care of these kids that really need a mother?
Right.
And so I made that decision that helping these kids and raising them important. Um, so I chose to be a mom at that.
How old were the kids?
So when they got them, they were 5 and 7, and they're amazing kids. I still love them till today. I don't get to see them because my ex won't allow it. but I do love these kids and they're amazing. And I'm glad that I was a part of my life because I know that they will forever remember me.
So at some point, you decide that you're going to start a payday loan company.
Okay, so here's the truth. Um, I wanted kids.
Mhm.
I found it in my heart to adopt kids. I adopted 3 homeless kids. And I would go to events and see all of the kids, and there was thousands of kids. And I thought to myself, "Oh my god, they all need education, they all need a psychologist. How am I gonna do this? I mean, I make decent money, but we need millions to, help these kids." And so I went outside and I looked up at the sky and I said, "God, help me. This is things I am seeing that I can't unsee." And 3 days later, an opportunity came to me about the loan company, and I said, "Okay, I will open it and help fund these homeless kids," and that's what I've done.
Hmm.
So I have a couple events twice a year that I give backpacks to and school supplies back to school, and then I have another one for Christmas, and I help hundreds of kids, and then of course I adopted 3 myself that are I'm a human ATM machine. Did you know?
Just so we're clear.
So, so, but it's who I am. It's who I was meant to be. I was meant to serve on this planet, and I think we're all given gifts
Yeah.
to use for the better good. And I think I was given the gift to learn business, do business, so that I can teach others. And my passion is to help women with that in the future, and that's what my goal is. And it's such a burning desire that I won't stop until I help at least 100 women become millionaires. I mean, I'd love to do make a million millionaires.
Mhm.
Um, but only God knows if, I'm make that happen. But I don't want to die until I do it for 100 women. But I really my goal is really a million.
A
Make
million millionaires.
a million millionaires.
Well, at least
Yes.
you don't think big.
Yeah. Like the conversation you and I had earlier, you have to be a little crazy to do things that other people aren't willing to do. And so, most people are all about me, me, me. Like, what do I get out of life? What do I get out of whatever transaction? And I've never been that way
Mhm.
ever. And I just think it's just in my DNA. And I think because I'm not that way, the universe knows that whenever I'm blessed, I'm going to give back. And so I continue to be blessed, which I'm so very grateful for. Thank you very much. But if I could do nothing all day but help women, because I believe it empowers their children, which empowers generations to come. Now, don't get me wrong, I love helping men too.
Mhm.
I just think it's more effective to help them, especially, people, especially with knowledge, right? If you teach a woman education, she's going to teach her children, and that goes on from generation to generation.
Mhm.
And so it's very, very important for me as my purpose in life, to do that because at the end of the day, I don't care. I'm trying to be a billionaire, but at the end of the day, I can't take the money with me.
Yeah.
But like I told you earlier, the second death, I don't want anybody to ever stop saying, her dash in life meant she was an angel to everybody she came across. And so for me, that is my real goal in life. And I want to be a gift to the world.
Yeah.
I want to every gift I have been giving, I want to teach others and help them. And so I just think that, we all go through stepping stones to get to wherever we are in life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for a purpose. And so I think everything that's happened to me is a purpose in my undying desires to give back and help women and a few men. Can't leave the men out because that's the fun part, right?
Now, let's not leave the men out. I mean, it's a little
Yeah.
cold in the shadow, right?
Yeah,
Let's not, right?
I want to help men. I love helping men. It's fun working with men.
Oh, that's good. That's
There's
good.
there's
Because
less
God
drama.
knows we need it, right?
There's less drama.
Yeah, we need it for sure. We're
Yeah.
going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the kids. We're going to talk about the Payday loan company. We're going to talk about the insurance company. And we're also going to talk about what the future looks like. We've got some interesting things to tease you with. We'll be right back. Did you know there's an app that has no side effects that allows you to use sound waves to tell your brain what you want it to do? It's called newcalm.com. And it's amazing. It literally uses sound waves. If you want to tell your brain to go to sleep, if you want to tell your brain to recover, if you want to tell your brain to put you in peak physical state, if you want to tell your brain to focus, if you want to tell your brain to take a power nap, you can do all of these things and more with newcalm.com. Go to newcalm.com today, promo code Mike15. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go there today. And we're back with Maria Miuccio. And we're talking about, before the break, we were talking about your life story. We were talking about you have 3 kids that you adopted. You have a payday loan company. You've got an insurance company. You've got it going on. And one of the things that you're doing that you're committed to is actually taking 100 women and turning them into millionaires. What you really want to do is make 1,000,000 millionaires, right? Let's talk about, how old are the kids now? How are they doing?
14, 17, and 19.
Wow.
And they're all doing fantastic.
Yeah.
They are amazing kids. I am grateful. They weren't always amazing.
Yeah.
Having all 3 with special needs when I got them was quite the chore. People think I'm crazy. And I think, as a single mother to take in 3 kids at once, it is a little crazy, but I like being a little crazy.
I think you
Although I
might be
had
a little crazy, but you and I are both a little crazy. So, and people think I'm a lot crazy. So, you know what? It is what it is, right? And wasn't it you that said before we hit record that the crazy ones are the ones that change the world? So
yeah,
let's
yeah,
get to it, right? Let's get to it.
yeah.
So, can you take a second and talk about what it was like to adopt 3 homeless kids?
Um,
They had to have had some baggage when they showed up.
so, here's the truth. They came, and this is pretty much the same story with every kid. They come to you with a black bag and their belongings. The only thing that they really owned was these toys from McDonald's
In a
to
trash
have
bag,
you know,
right?
a trash bag. Yeah. And so, I had to buy 3 beds, 3 mattresses, 3 sets of clothes, um, toys. And so it wasn't easy, but
Mm.
nothing worthwhile in life is easy.
Yeah.
But the things that I get back daily from them from the first day. So my daughter, she didn't speak her first 3 years. She would just point and
Right. Yeah.
mm. And so the gift, the second day I had her, she said to me, "Can I call you mommy?" And of course, I started crying.
Yeah.
And
Kind of.
the therapist was sitting next to me, and she started crying too. And so I stopped crying, a couple minutes later, and she was continuing to cry. And I said, I looked at her and I said, "Why are you still crying?" She says, "You don't get it. I've had this kid since she was a week old. 20 of us tried to get her to talk. None of us could. And she's only been around you 2 days, and here she's talking."
Mm.
And so I looked at my daughter and I said, "So why is it you're talking now and you never did?" And she says, I used to be sad, but I can tell being around you, I'm going to have fun. And so, it's things like that that make what life worth living.
Yeah.
And so I have to tell you that even though it's not one of the easiest things I've done in life, it's the most valuable thing I've done in life because I know they are who they are today because of the impact that I've put in their lives. But I have to tell you that I also had an amazing man in my life that helped me raise them. And so, which they still call dad.
Mhm.
And so, it takes a village to raise children.
Sure does.
They, they, I always believed that, um, kids are only given to you for you to help guide them with what their journey is. So if their journey is not to be an attorney, like I say, my daughter, she should be an attorney. But if that's not really what she wants to do, I'm only supposed to guide her in what she really wants to do, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're good at something and passionate about it, you're going to be really great at it. But if
Mhm.
you're doing something you hate, you're not going to do much with it. And so every day, they bring more joy to me. They give me more of a gift than I could have ever have given them, even though I've spoiled them and given them everything that they could possibly have. It's more of a gift to me to have them in my life.
Yeah. That's the way I feel about my kids too.
Yeah.
They, you know, amazing.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I joke with my daughter that I'm gonna buy the house next door and she's gonna have to live there because I just can't live without her. The boys, they're so eager to get out on their own, and even though they know that they need me, and I've even proven that with one of them. But they still have that desire to be a man
Mhm.
and get out there and have that freedom. But but they're still at home
Mhm.
and under my nest and in my pocket, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I love how you approached this entire thing. And I know for a fact, I knew within 3 seconds of meeting you that we were going to have a good time. So I love the fact that your kids clued in quickly to the idea that they were going to be happy and that they were going to have fun with you, and they felt at ease.
So I have to tell you a story about my middle child.
I'd love it.
Uh, so he's the difficult one, the most difficult out of all three. And so it took 4 therapists to get him under control. And I'll tell you a story of what he did one day. Besides screaming on the top of his lungs, they took him, they go out and do these things at a park. And so he decided one day that he was just going to be who he is. And so they went out to Starbucks and he let them all get out of the car and he locked the doors and he slammed on the horn for an hour and just irritated, everybody that could possibly be around, right?
Kinda, yeah.
And then when he was bored with that, he got out of the car and made them chase him for an hour in the parking lot. And so they called me up and they're like, Maria, we need you. I know there's four of us, only one of you,
Yeah.
but we need you.
Yeah.
We can't handle this kid. Only you can. He
Mhm.
must be yours because four of us that are trained and licensed can't handle him.
Yeah.
We need you to come home. So I had to leave the office and come home and handle it. And I looked at him and he was crying. And I said to him, I said, you caused a scene. You irritated a lot of people, not just the four therapists, but everybody in the parking lot and all the stores. Did you get what you wanted out of that?
Yeah.
And he's
Are
like,
you happy
no.
with yourself?
Yeah. He's like, no. I said, well, what is it you wanted? He's like, well, I wanted Skittles and I wanted to go to the park. I said, well, did you get what you wanted? And he said, no. And I said, well, let me teach you the art of negotiation. I sat him down and
And it
I said,
really is an art, just so we're
yeah,
clear.
yeah. And I said, let me teach you the art of negotiation. You have to make it a win-win for both parties. I said, so you should have said, if you give me Skittles, and take me to the park,
Mhm.
I will
Behave.
I will do whatever you need me to do.
Yeah.
You know, do extra work, whatever. And that's this way you both get what you want.
Yeah.
And you're still crying. It's been hours. I know you're tired
Mm-hmm.
because you've been running and, crying for hours, but you still
Wreaking
didn't get what you
havoc.
wanted.
Yeah.
And so I have to tell you that he took that and he is the best negotiator on the planet. He's and he from that day forward, he's used it against me.
Yeah.
So when he wants something, he'll say, "Mom, I want this and this, and I'm willing to give you this and this."
Right.
And if I look at him and I'm like, I don't like it, he's like, "What do you taught me the art of negotiation?
Right.
I'm doing it on you."
Right.
So but he's got a high IQ and he has taken this to the bank and he gets what he wants. He every time he does. And so, but I am glad because from that point forward, there was never any incidents like they had. So sometimes I think you have to talk to children like they're little adults,
Mm-hmm.
right? And make them step up to the plate of what they really want and teach them what the real world is like.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. I taught them, this is how the real world works. You can get what you want, but you have to be willing to give up something. And so he learned that. He was 5 and he is forever changed.
Yeah.
And, of course he's changed his mind again, but shortly after that, I put him in tech classes and he was building robots that would talk and dance and light up. And I was so impressed. And of course, his goal was to be a tech billionaire. It's changed now. That's no longer his goal, which I'm a little sad about.
What's his goal now?
Oh, I don't even want to discuss it. It's nothing impressive.
So it's not an FBI hostage negotiator?
No, we're trying to get back on that track.
Yeah.
Oh, he actually wants to work for me in the insurance, but it's not because he loves it. It's because mom's going to take care of me, And so for me, I think that's kind of the easy way out.
Yeah.
I really loved it when he had his own ambition of being a tech billionaire and was building robots because they're truly, someday I'll show to you, they're truly impressive.
Yeah.
And but he definitely learned the art of negotiation, and I think it's powerful for anybody in life to learn that because this is America. This is the dream country, and you could really have anything you want in life as long as you're willing to negotiate and give up something for it.
Well, and work for it, right?
Work for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like giving up something, right? You got to give up your sweat equity in some sort and time. And most of the time money too.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with a little elbow grease.
Yeah.
So my favorite book about negotiation was written by a guy by the name of Chris Voss. He wrote a book called Never Split the Difference. I would highly recommend giving that to your middle child.
Okay. I've never read it.
It's really good.
I'll have to look into that.
So Chris was a cop in New York, and he decided he wanted to be in hostage negotiation. And so he goes to the lady that's in charge of hostage negotiation, and he says, I want to go to Quantico for training, and I want to be a hostage negotiator. And she goes, everybody wants to be a hostage negotiator. She goes, what have you done? Do you have a degree? Do you have any experience? Do you have anything? No, nothing. No, I just want to be a hostage negotiator. And she goes, all right. She goes, okay, no. Right. And he goes, well, you can't just give me no for an answer. You got to is there anything I can do? Anything I can do? And she said, yeah. She said, you can go from here and you can go down the street and you can volunteer at a suicide hotline. And once you've been there for a few months, come back and see me. 6 months or whatever, come back and see me. So he goes down to the hostage negotiator hotline and he volunteers. And he comes back 6 months later and he says, okay, I volunteered at the suicide hotline. And she goes, You did? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, nobody ever does that. She goes, I've told so many people to do this and nobody ever does it. And she said, and you actually did it? And he goes, yeah, I've been there for 6 months. And she goes, you get the next spot. So
Love
he
it.
moved himself in front of everybody else to become a hostage. All these people with all these degrees and all this experience and all this kind of stuff to become a hostage negotiator. He became the lead hostage negotiator for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And if any American was kidnapped in any foreign country around the world, he's the one that got the call. And his job was to either negotiate or coach the negotiator into negotiating that American's freedom. And if he screwed it up, they lost their lives.
Ooh.
Okay. So we're talking about some serious stakes, right? And what was interesting was he tells the story in this book. You'll love this book. He tells the story in this book about the FBI and specifically about their hostage negotiation program. Okay. And one of the things that they used to do is if you went out and hijacked a plane, they would just start trying to intimidate you and scare you into giving up. They'd shoot the engines out. They'd do all kinds of crazy stuff. They'd be all aggressive and all this stuff and have this particular posture, right? Well, they ended up with a bloodbath in the early 70s on a tarmac. And they ended up going to Congress, who has oversight over the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And they're like, hey, Congress is like, look. And they went to court. The judge agreed. The FBI was at fault. They screwed this thing up. So they had to go back and relook at everything. You know what's interesting is they figured out that they needed to ask questions. They figured out that they needed to start connecting with the hostage taker and figure out what it is that they're actually looking for so that they could figure out a way to solve the problem. Doesn't that sound a lot like sales to you?
Yeah.
Okay. All they had to do was figure out a way to connect with that person and get them to come out of their shell and get them to tell them what it is that they're really looking for. And it worked effectively. And it was amazing how well it worked. Chris wrote this book because now what he does, he's not with the FBI anymore. What he does now is he has his own company called the Black Swan Group, and they teach people, business people and other people, how to negotiate. Guy's a master negotiator. He's incredible at it. But he cut his teeth as the lead FBI hostage negotiator. So one of my favorite books, and I highly recommend it. Give it to your middle child, and he'll enjoy it. I promise.
Yeah, I'm sure. I tried to pay him $120 to read Think and Grow Rich when he was 7. He got to page 20 and then he quit.
Really?
Yeah, but I try to get them to, I pay them for A's and so forth, and I try to do whatever it takes to get them to be their absolute best and give them potential. He's blowing up my phone constantly. He's on vacation, so he actually hates school.
Yeah. And
he wanted to go on vacation for the whole summer.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, that's a little crazy, but let's take in steps. I said, you want something, I want something. I want you to get A's. And he says, Mom, I hate school. How do you expect me to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, go ask each teacher for extra credit. Lots of it, and do it. And so he did. And long story short, he got A's. He surprised himself. He couldn't believe that he could actually do it. So I had to fork out the money and let him go on vacation for a little bit.
Yeah.
And fund it. But the whole lesson is he surprised himself. But because he wanted this so badly, he did what it took to get it. And so I teach the kids, work hard, play hard, right? You can have anything in life as long as you're willing to work for it.
Yeah. Work hard enough for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Work hard, play hard. That's the producer calling me. She will have to circle back with her.
Yeah. So speaking of the producer and speaking of writing a book, so you have some projects coming up that we're actually going to be covering in our next interview. So we have another interview coming that you and I are going to do. and we're actually going to go over a couple of projects that you have coming up. What I wanted to do was I wanted to talk a little bit about the insurance company and the payday loan company for a second. What's your favorite thing about owning the insurance company? And what's your favorite thing about owning the payday loan company?
How much time do you have? So the insurance
Apparently too
company,
much.
the insurance company is, I love it when I my goal is to save everybody money, right? It's mandatory you need insurance, but get what you need and not have to get any extras.
Right.
And so I would say I probably save 9 out of 10 people money.
That's
And when
cool.
we're talking money, it's especially if they have bigger assets, it's thousands of dollars. I like, one time, this guy had 2 Teslas, and I saved him $4,000 a year just on the insurance on the Teslas, which he was blown away. And then he got angry of, oh my God, I've been spending this extra money for the last couple of years, all
Yeah.
the money I wasted. So I love it. I love it. I love saving them money. I love being there for them in their time of need. I love the business aspect of it, of talking to business owners and finding out, what they did to get where they are and where they came from. And so I love every aspect of it. The payday loan company, Christmas is a heartfelt time of year for me. Uh, and I'll give you one story because you and I about this for days, but I'll just give you one story. So a girl came in. She was declined by a couple other payday lenders. And the truth is, she didn't qualify, but all she needed was $300. And so I went up to the window and I said to her, I said, what is it you need it for? And she said to me, she says, my family's coming to town. And it's a difference between a real ham and a real turkey on the table versus lunch meat. And my kids, this was back a couple years ago when Toys R Us was still around, and my kids know the difference. Toys R Us toys.
Mhm.
So the $300 may not be a lot of money to everybody else, but to me, it's a matter of humility. Beautiful holiday. So long story short, I gave her the money, um, and so it's stories like that that is why I do what I do, right? At the end of the day, we're all human. I don't care if you're a billionaire, that doesn't mean you're going to be a billionaire every day. We all go, life is meant to go up and down, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. You might be rich one day and poor the next.
Mhm.
And so we all need to help each other out. And so even though everybody else declined her, I gave her what she needed, and she had a beautiful holiday, and that story will stick with me forever because there's so many like that. But she was a single mom with 3 kids, and because that's where I was in life,
Yeah.
um there was no way I was going to say no to her, right? And so there's just like I said, you and I can go days and days and days on why I love the things I do. I'm very passionate about anything I touch. And so I love helping people. And I think that's what it doesn't matter what I do. That is my goal, is what can I do to be an angel in somebody's life and treat people how I would want to be treated.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, we're all we're all, here, we're all souls living a human experience. And so I think we forget that we're not going to be here forever, and what really matters. And our goal is all to make mega money, but we can't take it with us. And so we're supposed to leave legacies, and I hope that there's more people in the world that want to make the world a better place.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree. In fact, that's why we're doing this podcast. You know, we literally are doing this so that we can help change the world. And I'm just crazy enough to think I can, you know?
No, I am too.
Yeah, I
I am
love it.
too. And I think that's why you and I get along,
Yeah.
because we both know you have to be a little crazy to even think you could do it.
Nothing
But
like kindred spirits.
it's people like you and I that'll get it done
Yeah.
because we go against the grain. I have a famous saying, and anybody who knows me knows this about me. I don't take no for an answer. And
Really?
if you really listen, but listen to me, listen to my philosophy. If you say no to me, I will politely ask you to get that F out of the way so that I can talk to the next person who's going to say yes to me,
Right.
because that's right.
Right.
So yeah, I don't take no. Don't tell me no,
Right.
because I politely tell you to move. That there's a song that says move
Mm-hmm.
it, get out the way, get
Mm-hmm.
out the way,
Yep. That's it. That's
and
it.
and get me to the person who's going to say yes to what I
Yeah,
need, you
absolutely.
know,
I totally agree.
but that's the only way to change the world.
So if people are looking for insurance or they're looking for a payday loan, how can they reach out to you?
My cell number is 702-289-0311. The payday loan company is called Cash Kingdom,
Okay.
cashkingdomloans.com. And the insurance company is called Coast to Coast Insurance. And text me on my cell and we'll give you the best quotes and we'll save you thousands of money. 702-289-0311.
Beautiful. Okay, Maria Miuccio, thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. I'm looking forward, back at you, baby. I'm looking forward to our next time together because I know we've got some amazing things in the works that we're going to be talking about and promoting with you. Thank you again for being here.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to our next meeting so I can, have my hair done and makeup on.
Now, hopefully we don't interrupt your workout next time. Can I ask you a question? Did you know that there's a technology that uses sound waves that'll tell your brain what to do? There literally is. It's called newcalm.com. It can tell your brain to heal, tell your brain to sleep, tell your brain to do all kinds of things. It can get you fired up. It can be a pre-workout. Newcalm.com. And the promo code is Mike15. Newcalm.com, promo code Mike15 for an extra 15% off. Go today.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at the Mike Litton Experience.